How often do I check on a property? Well, this one's pretty easy. How often would you like someone to check on you and your property? Probably not too often, right? This is one of those questions where you have to be careful to not cut off your nose to spite your face. I've been on both sides of this. I've done it both ways. I've worked for clients where we've done it both ways. However, my stance is once a year when they renew. If they did a 2-year lease, okay, fine. Maybe on the front end of the lease term, say, hey, we're just going to do a quick 1 year property check. Don't call it an inspection. Property check. Quick 1 year check in. It'll just take, half an hour or so, whatever. Just want to make sure everything works right. And, if you had any questions, we could answer those, whatever, but I would not do it more than that. That's just me. I've done quarterly checks. I have investors that go every month to change the filter and change the air conditioning filter and check on the property. I have done, semi-annual. Does semi-annual mean twice a year or every 2 years? I never know that. I think it means twice a year. Whatever the word is that means 2 times a year. I've done those. And I just feel that, you want to build a long-term relationship with the tenant. The key in rental property investing is to keep the tenants there. If you could get a 10-year tenant, wouldn't that be amazing? The reality is you're probably going to get about 5 tenants in 10 years. The average tenant in the United States stays about 27 months, okay? A little less than 2.5 years. But when we do our analysis, we run it on what we call a 10-year rental property evaluator calculator. And we turn it 5 times. That means we have 5 tenants in 10 years, one every 2 years. And assuming that that's the case over the course of a decade, that's how we analyze the numbers. But, if you got a 4-year, 5-year, 6-year tenant, that's the key right there. Hold the tenant as long as you can, because every time you turn a property or the tenant moves out, you're going to pay leasing fees. If you hire someone to lease it, you're definitely going to pay vacancy fees. You're going to have temporary utilities. You're going to have some level of probably a repair, make ready to some degree, probably, that are going to be the landlord expenses. At the very least, you're going to have to change the locks. That's a cost. So you just want to keep the tenant. So the question is, how do you keep the tenant? Well, you definitely probably not going to keep the tenant when you're there every month. You might think you're their friend, but I promise you, they don't think the same thing about you. Very likely. So you want to give them their space. You really want to respect and honor the fact that there's a lease agreement in place. This is their homestead. This is where they raise their family. This is where they eat dinner. This is their safe space. This is where they protect themselves and insulate themselves from the world. And you are providing that service for them. And in return, they're paying you rent. So, most of the time you're dealing with adults, and at some point you just have to expect that they're going to take care of the property. And they won't in the way you do, for sure, but they will in a way that isn't going to probably be a total disaster. And if you're checking the property, it doesn't necessarily negate that that's going to happen or not. That doesn't necessarily mean that it won't still happen, that they couldn't trash the property. I mean, they could skip out, like if the lease doesn't end until November, they could skip out in April and because for whatever reason, and the property could be destroyed and you wouldn't know because you the last time you went was in March. I mean, there's a variety of possibilities. There's no way to truncate and remove the total risk of whatever you're fearing. By walking the property, which is typically why the landlord wants to walk the property, or the landlord wants the property manager to walk the property on their behalf. So again, there's no right or wrong here. There's no right way. You'll just have to kind of massage your way through that. But I would always just encourage you to want to maintain the tenant. So ask yourself that question before you make that decision. What does maintaining the tenant look like? How can I just be a really great landlord? And that's how I would handle that. So I hope that helps answer the question, and we'll see you on the next one. But remember, don't let any of these questions and answers hold you back from executing and moving forward. The time value of money is by far, bar none, the most valuable tool and beacon that you need to keep your eyes lasered in on. Because if you let the years go by and you don't buy rental property, that means the tenants aren't paying off your mortgage. That means the mortgage isn't getting paid off. That means whatever your money's in, if it's sitting in cash, I know currently interest rates are paying about 5%, but if somebody watches this video in 3 or 5 years, I promise you that probably won't be the case. That is a short-term operation. Okay, so bottom line, you're look, most people can't buy 10 properties in 1 year. Most people would have to buy 10 properties over 10 years or 20 years. So you're losing time as time goes on. Time is the element that you can never get back. You can always earn money, and you will earn money. You will earn a lot of money, but you can never earn your time back. So the key to getting ahead is getting started. I think we all know that. If we started buying property as we could when we were 20, our situations would all be different right now. But most people didn't do that, myself included. But it's okay. If you start at 40, that means you're not starting at 60. So I just want to encourage that and hope this helps you clear up a question mark so you can make a decision and move forward. Your answer and your decision will never be wrong. The key is never give up and move forward. Okay, we'll see you on the next one.